Georgia Feast Week, presented by Lowe's.
Every year at the Maui Jim Maui Invitational, teams are identified that can win the national championship. We saw it last year with North Carolina. This year's field, no exception.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing Notre Dame. Bonzie Colson is a player of the year type candidate, and I think they have a real shot at playing for a national title. Michigan coming off a great run at the end of the year. Mo Wagner, Duncan Robinson have been terrific. But, Jay, I think the cream of the crop has to be Wichita State, no?
Wichita State's got maybe the best point guard here in Landry Shamet. Greg Marshall's done an amazing job. But it really doesn't matter. We're in Maui. Oh, I love Maui. Turn this thing around. We're going to the Lahaina Civic Center now.
Welcome to the Maui Jim Maui Invitational here in Maui. Of course, the second game here with the day session, Wichita State and Cal, with the winner to advance to a semifinal matchup against Marquette tomorrow. The loser will play VCU on the consolation side. Marquette with a big second half, outscoring VCU 94-83. Welcome back inside the Lahaina Civic Center. Along with Jay Billis, I'm Dan Schoen. What are you doing wearing long sleeves on the boat in 85-degree weather?
I don't know why I was yelling. Everything's so mellow here.
I
just wanted to get here.
You should be
now
happy.
We're here.
Now we're here. Now we're going to talk about Wichita State, one of the best teams in the country. They've got talent. They've got depth. They've got experience. How good are they?
They are Final Four good. And I know Greg Marshall may not want to hear that at this time simply because he doesn't want to put extra pressure on his team. But they're without Marcus McDuffie right now, who is injured. But they've got Landry Shamet, who is one of the handful of the best point guards in the country and the best pro prospect in this entire tournament. It's a veteran team. They've got 93% of their scoring and rebounding back. And it's a team that knows how to play and, more importantly, knows how to win.
Cal, maybe a little bit more in transition right now. Wyking coach went from assistant coach to interim head coach back in March, and now he takes over the program on a full-time basis.
Yeah, Wyking Jones has been around the game for a long, long time. He's been assistant to some of the best coaches in the business. He's getting his shot now as a head coach. He was a great player at Loyola Marymount, and now in his first year, he wants Cal, even though they're a big team. They've got big guys up front in Kingsley Okoro and Marcus Lee. They want to get up and down the floor, and they want to press full court.
Greg Marshall, what a run he has had in Wichita. Final Four trip in 2013, an undefeated regular season in 2014, and to get a team with big expectations heading into the 17-18 season. They are ranked 6th. Wichita State is 2-0. Cal is 2-1, and it's the Shockers with the first possession of the game.
Landry Shamet coming off an injury, and now they're going against the 2-3 zone. This is a big back line of this zone with Marcus Lee and Kingsley Okoro.
A lot of length, and they force an early turnover. This is Don Coleman putting up some big scoring numbers in the early season, and he banks it home and draws a foul.
Don Coleman may not be big, but he is a big scorer. Junior college transfer, is a crafty player that knows how to get fouled. This will be his 40th free throw on the season. 13 a game on this young year.
He scored 31 in their opening game against UC Riverside, although he was 9 for 28. He scored 30 in their second game against Cal Poly, and a much more efficient 8 for 13. And then he scored 16 in a win over Wofford. It was 5 for 9. So he's averaging almost 26 points per game through 3.
2-2-1, three-quarter court pressure. Wow. A foul, too.
What a finish. Landry Shamet. If you don't know the name, you better soon. This is one of the best guards in the country, potentially.
Well, Landry Shamet, a terrific pass by Shaq Morris. But Landry Shamet is the same type of competitor that Fred Van Vliet was and Ron Baker was, but he's a better athlete and bigger than both. And when he took over the point guard position last year, middle of the year, that's when Wichita State turned from a good team into a really good team that could beat anybody.
And Shamet coming back from a stress fracture in his foot, had surgery. He's not 100%, but well enough to play. They are without another great player, as you mentioned, Marcus McDuffie. Hope to have him back around the holidays, maybe for conference play at the beginning of January. But that's a really good player they are without. Marcus Lee with a good contest inside. Shaquille Morris muscles it up and in.
You think that guy's strong? I mean, that was right around and over two guys that are basically 7-footers in Marcus Lee and Kingsley Okoro. He just powered right through everybody.
Morris 6'8", 279, fifth-year senior out of Edmond, Oklahoma. Wichita State with the lead. Shockers moving into the American Conference this year as the three will go down for Coleman. And he is off to a great start in the first minute and a half. He's got all 6.
Well, Zach Brown went under that screen. As soon as he went under it, Coleman was pulling up. He knows how to score and is not shy.
Nice look. Extra pass. Corner 3. And McNeil down with the rebound and saves it off to his backcourt, Nathan Coleman.
Well, McNeil got away with one. He did not turn to block out Landry Shamet. Shamet almost went over him to get that rebound.
McNeil, just a freshman, 6'3", 175 out of Houston. This is his 4th collegiate game, his 2nd start.
He's in to run the team.
Van Camp with a steal. The former Kansas Jayhawk, Wichita native. Morris trying to show some range on the jumper. Lee down with a rebound.
Not sure that's quite the shot that Greg Marshall would have drawn up. But Wichita State runs great stuff against the zone. A lot of it Greg Marshall got from his mentor John Crest, a longtime coach at the College of Charleston. Longtime great coach.
Yep. And Marshall says that's his Coach K. Is John Crest. Justice Suing with a long jumper, and Cal shooting the ball well. He got 3 threes already. Excuse me, 2 threes and 1 3-point play.
Justice Suing is from Honolulu, so he would be really comfortable in the islands. But going under those screens, that's had Cal's gone right after those shots 2 times in a row. First with Coleman, then with Suing. Watch, go right under the screen here. Kingsley Okoro sets it. Zach Brown goes under, and Don Coleman makes him pay. And then Landry Shamet goes under this one. And Justice Suing just pulls up right behind Kingsley Okoro and knocks it down. Another great hair team.
Yeah, VCU really setting the hair standard in the first game. Now, apparently there may have been an elbow. Rebounding action underneath, and the officials are going to the monitor. We've got Vern Harris, Lamont Simpson, and Tim Comer working this game.
The first game between Marquette and VCU, you had several situations where the referees could have gone to the monitor but didn't.
You can see a push there from Darrell Willis Jr., and we have been told that Willis of Wichita State and Lee of Cal each assessed with a technical. You see no elbow there. It was a shove and then a bit of a shoulder.
So there won't be any free throws exchanged. They're offsetting. It's basically just point of interruption. Both get personal fouls.
Right, and for Lee, that's his 2nd. So it hurts Cal more. They're not as deep, and one of their better players just picked up a 2nd foul. Lee will transfer from Kentucky, came home just to play 1 year, just to play his senior year at Cal after spending 3 years in Lexington.
It was funny, that kind of action that Lee picked up that 2nd foul on. In the old days of the Big East, you know, that was like a handshake.
Yeah.
How you doing? None of that was ever called back in the day.
Darrell Willis Jr., the senior from Madison, Wisconsin, will head to the line now for the Shockers. We mentioned Wichita State moving from the Missouri Valley Conference, where they have been forever, to the American Conference. Cincinnati was actually picked to win the American Conference, just ahead of Wichita State. And Wichita State is more highly ranked in the national poll. 2 really well-run programs that figure to have some great battles this year.
Yeah, Wichita State has had some more winning seasons the last few years at the highest level than Cincinnati has. But Cincinnati's been really consistent, really good under Mick Cronin. I've said this a million times. Cincinnati's led the nation in playing hard for a number of years now. But the last couple of years, they can really score. With Jacob Evans, Gary Clark, Kyle Washington, they can really score. And that's going to be a big difference for this team.
Coast to coast. And the finger roll comes up short for Samaje Haynes-Jones. A junior from Wichita, junior college transfer.
Now, Greg Marshall's not going to be happy with that. That was not a strong take. That was a pretty take. And that is a really good player.
McNeil wide open. 3rd 3 of the game already for Cal. And again, as you said, they like to press. We saw a lot of that from VCU in the first game. Marquette winning 94-83. Is Cal going to try to press for 40 minutes?
Yeah, they're going to definitely press for 40 minutes. Then they drop back into this zone. And so far, Wichita State has not found any kind of rhythm against this zone. And some of the mistakes that have been made by Wichita State, Cal has been able to capitalize on.
And Greg Marshall with freely making substitutions earlier in this game. Rashard Kelly, a senior from Fredericksburg, Virginia, is in, and also Rano Nurger, a senior from Estonia. They have 6 seniors who get regular minutes on this team. Coleman, quick one. Wow. And does not get the roll, but there is a foul. And I think it was underneath, not on the shot. I think it's going on Frankamp.
Trying to block out Justice Suing. Right now, Cal, the pace. They're pushing the ball up the floor, and it's caused a little bit of a problem for Wichita State early.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Maui Visitors and Convention Bureau and visitmaui.com.
Cal off to a good start, a 6-point lead over favored Wichita State. Before the game, back in the locker room, here was the speech from Coach Greg Marshall.
We're the more experienced team. We're going to make every passing adventure. We're going to show our hands on defense. Okay, we've got a big-time veteran crew. All right, but they're going to call in tight. All right, bodies. You got to show your hands. All right, let's share the ball. Good shot, great shot. Okay, let's go. Questions?
He's got a big-time veteran crew. A ton of success for these guys in recent years. Regular seasons, postseason success as well. This is Greg Marshall's 354th game as the head coach at Wichita State. That breaks a tie with Hall of Famer Ralph Miller, who coached the Shockers from 51 through 64.
And then went to Oregon State and had an unbelievable run in Corvallis. When Greg Marshall was talking to his team about show your hands, he was really talking keep your hands off of drivers on defense. If you show your hands, you can play with your body. And he was talking about a big-time veteran crew and the officials there, even though he has a big-time veteran crew of players.
You're right. Another turnover. Coleman converts at the other end of the Bears, up the lead to 8.
Coleman used that off arm to get the defender away from him so he could finish that, but it just shows how good he is at getting fouled. And you make a mistake, and Cal's been taking it the other way, but watch his off arm here. He gave a little bit of a shot to the defender just so he could finish that play. See how he held him off just at the end there, Rashard Kelly? That was a veteran move by Don Coleman.
Coleman, who averaged 4.6 points per game last year, largely came off the bench. We mentioned off to a huge start scoring this year and off to a huge start scoring today.
2-2-1, three-quarter court pressure. You worry if Don Coleman's going to be a little bit tired because we had him on 94 feet in the sand.
Wow.
And he worked awfully hard in those 94 feet to keep up not only with how physical it is, but the rapid-fire questions. The concentration level has to be high.
Really
it's mentally taxing.
Yeah, grueling physically and emotionally. 15-6. He's got 9 early. Doesn't look tired, but he misses that turnaround, and we got a foul underneath, and it's going against Suing of the Bears, Justice Suing.
Wichita State is going to have to accept the physical challenge. Thus far, Cal has actually been more physical and has been the aggressor in this game. And the Shockers have shockingly been turning the ball over at a really high rate relative to the amount of possessions.
Viking Jones's Bears come in 2-1. They lost to UC Riverside in the opener, then wins over Cal Poly and Wofford. But a big step up in a competition here in Maui, as there is for all teams. They'll play 3 games in 3 days. One of these teams is going to play VCU tomorrow. The other will play Marquette. Now staying in the zone. Open look from the wing. The 3 won't go for Austin Reeves.
Well, what a nice play by Don Coleman. Rashard Kelly gets the rebound, and Coleman won't let go of the ball.
Yeah. Once the whistle blows.
There's nothing in the rule book that says that when there's a tie-up, you have to let go. And I kind of like it that neither one of them's letting go. Let the referee sort it out. But you're just starting to send a message that I'm not letting this thing go. You're going to have to fight me for the ball.
Arrow gives it to Cal. Now some pressure from the Shockers. And we'll step aside. 15-6. Cal dealing with the pressure, but they're up by 9. Cal Bears, an underdog coming into this game against Wichita State, are off to a flying start led by Don Coleman.
Well, Don Coleman may be small, but he can really score. And his ability to get to the free throw line is incredibly impressive. He can shoot it, can put it on the deck, And when you can draw fouls and go to the free throw line 13 times per game, who would have thought that he'd be averaging 25 points a game after averaging under 5 last year?
And he's got 2 more. Man, what a start for the Bears.
Because they are scoring efficiently, Cal's able to set its defense. And Wichita State having to take the ball out of the net and inbound it on just about every possession, it seems like.
Shockers have missed their last 6 field goal attempts.
How many possessions has Wichita State had against the defense that's not been set?
This jumper by Haynes Jones, and down with the rebound, Nick Hamilton. Andrew Shamet getting ready to check back in for Wichita State. Coleman getting a lot of attention. Got his man in the air, puts it up, no good.
Good passing.
Nurja won't take the baseline jumper. They swing it again. Reeves will take the corner 3. Reeves will get another look. And they're going to call a foul. No, it's going to be a held ball call, and the arrow will keep it at this end of the floor.
Wichita State fans upset. They thought that was an over the back. I thought it was awfully close to it. But Kingsley Okoro had both hands on the ball first, but it seemed like he did go over the top. Yeah, that looks like a foul. That's foul. Yeah.
Okoro's a big man, 7'1", 267, and Greg Marshall didn't get the call that he wanted. So the arrow keeps it with Wichita State.
You can go over a guy, you just can't be climbing his back. They both had the ball at the top. Good steal off by Morris.
Allowing Rashard Kelly to get right down the lane.
Shaq Morris probably thought that Kelly should have given him the ball, but he opened up a wide lane. A terrific seal off inside, and Kingsley Okoro couldn't get around Shaq Morris, who's, I'm told, was named after Shaquille O'Neal, and certainly shares that name, but they keep in contact with one another.
Really?
Yeah.
Baby Shaq, 6'8", 279.
Very nimble for that 279, and really skilled. And a fabulous singing voice, by the way.
As we may hear a little bit later on. Did he go 94 feet as well?
He did.
Yeah. And you know what? He's an interesting guy. He's looking over at us or you, and he's kind of talking and nodding and smiling as if he knows we're talking about him. But he's engaged out there. Shows his personality.
He played when Wichita State played Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. And Shaq Morris basically played Bam Adebayo to a standstill and a draw. He was terrific. And that is one big body to have to go against, and it's a player that works incredibly hard. See, he just drew a foul on Kingsley Okoro just by his activity and posting really hard, occupying a big defender. Watch him go right into his body there, and Okoro just kind of grabs him, but the contact was created by Morris. They're trying to guard a VW bus.
And Okoro has to go to the bench with 2. So Marcus Lee picked up 2 very quick fouls. And Okoro's now on the bench. The 2 big guys for Cal, both on the bench with 2 fouls, less than 7 minutes into the game.
So I think you got to look inside to Morris now.
And Cal is much smaller right now. And Tisovic in the middle. Morris going right at him.
Didn't score, but got a great shot.
The drive by Sewing, off balance shot won't go. Hamilton a great rebound. Morris hit the deck. And a travel is called on Anticevic, who passed up the open 3, took a step in, and shuffled his feet.
Cal's zone has really taken all the rhythm out of Wichita State's game. Wichita State can't find consistent shots. They've had some open ones they've missed, though.
Reeves will get one to go. He's had a few looks, knocks it down, and brings the Shockers back within 7.
Well, he's a smart player that is an excellent shooter. And Austin Reeves had a shoulder injury last year and sort of hit a wall. during the season, but he's a reliable knockdown shooter on the perimeter.
Sophomore from Newark, Arkansas. At the other end, the answer for Justice Suing as Cal keeps knocking down threes. They are 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. Kelly tried to lob it up. Great anticipation by Anticevic to knock it away. Shamet buries the three.
Kelly tried to lob that ball up from his waist. You got to get it up over your head and lob it up there. But Landry Shamet, coming off that surgery he had in July, he may not be 100%, but 85% of Landry Shamet is still one of the 5 best point guards in the country.
Suing step back over Nurger. High arcing shot. 5 for 5 from three-point range.
He's averaging 11 points per game in his first 3, but Justice Suing, just a freshman, is feeling it.
Reeves misses one. Ball still loose. And it will belong to Wichita State when we come back. Cal J cannot miss right now from beyond the arc.
Justice Suing with the step back. His dad played for Riley Wallace at Hawaii.
"94 feet with Wichita State's Shaq Morris. What do you like to eat?
My mother's nachos.
How about sports? Like, what sport did you play other than basketball growing up?
Football.
Were you good?
Yeah, I was really good. Really good.
What position?
Tight end.
So, I mean, NFL good?
NFL. I would be in the NFL right now.
All right, who's your worst dressed teammate?
Worst dress? I would say Brett Barney.
All right, what kind of music do you listen to?
I love Drake and, of course, the GOAT, Lil Wayne.
No Jeezy?
No Jeezy, nope.
Right, we got to work on that. Landry Shamet says that you can sing. Let's hear you sing.
I love you, mother. All right.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Bonzi Colson sings, but he doesn't sing that well. 94 feet with Shaq Morris. That was damn good.
Did he know you were going to ask him to sing before he did it?
I don't reveal any of my Mike Wallace style questions, and yeah, he's a great kid, and it was really fun to hang out with him.
You know, and if he decided to make the jump and switch sports, he wouldn't be the first basketball player to wind up in the NFL as a tight end. I mean, a number of guys have done that, and can you imagine trying to cover that guy at 6'8", 270?
No. Antonio Gates, probably the most famous, played basketball, was an outstanding basketball at player at Kent State. I guess Tony Gonzalez would be. He played at Cal, right? I'm going to get some phone calls from Cal people going, hey, forgetting Tony Gonzalez.
Nurger called for the foul away from the ball.
James McDonald did it too. He was an excellent basketball player at USC, went to Long Beach Poly, and then was a tight end for the Rams.
Second game here on day one at the Maui Gym. Maui Invitational. Marquette defeating VCU 94-83. Still to come later on today. With Kanoa Leahy and Dan Dockich, you will see Notre Dame and Chaminade, the host school here in the tournament. And then Michigan and LSU. Wyking Jones in his first year as the head coach at Cal after being an assistant the last couple of years. Expectations kind of low for the Bears. They've lost some really good players over the last couple of years. Guys like Jaylen Brown, Ivan Arab, Jabari Bird. They're picked 11th out of 12 in the Pac-12. Do you think the ceiling's a little bit higher than that for this team?
Well, I mean, it looks that way right now. Landry Shamet just let the trap come to him without attacking it. Good pass.
Morris, a great feed, and a foul will send Zach Brown to the line.
Now, Wichita State is getting some opportunities that they're not finishing, and that's unusual for the Shockers, but that was a really good attack of the trap. Passed right out of it and then got the ball into the middle. And Shaq Morris, there is no panic in that young man. He just caught the ball. Who's going to take it away from him? Faced the defense and then made a play.
Brown at the line, and another one of those seniors on Greg Marshall's team. And Brown's been a starter since his sophomore season. 6'6" out of Houston.
Back to your question on Cal. Do I think the ceiling is higher? I think the Bears will exceed expectations. Cal's in a tough league.
Yeah.
And it is going to be hard night in, night out. But really what Wyking Jones wants to do first and foremost is get his culture and his system in. They're going to play differently than they did under Conzo Martin. It's going to be more up-tempo. They want to get up and down the floor and press.
Coleman, Nurture the rebound. Shamet's got a very good size and length for a point guard. 6'4". With
Close feed.
Nerger left hand, and Tisevich down with the rebound.
Wichita State is getting the ball in good positions to score, but not finishing plays or getting fouled.
Deshaun Winston with the ball, 6'2" freshman out of Woodland Hills, California. A couple of freshmen splitting time of the point in Winston and McNeil.
Zach Brown on Don Coleman. Zach Brown, a great defender.
Nowhere to go. Turnover. Morris. Ooh. He had all kinds of ideas, but none of them panned out for him. That had to be about a long second and a half for Shaq Morris trying to figure out what to do with the ball there.
When Morris was chasing after that pass thrown ahead of him, how do you think the people in the front row felt seeing this? If he's not able to stop.
We never hear about the guys who were named after Shaquille O'Neal who are 5'9", 145 pounds.
That's exactly right.
They're probably out there. We only hear about the 6'8", 280 guys who were named after Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, that's because the little ones named after Shaq are sitting with us doing the game.
Coleman has been aggressive from the moment the game began. He's got 11 points already.
Even though he's small, he seeks out body contact. It's an art to draw fouls.
You mentioned it, 39 free throws in his first 3 games, 2 already today. So this is numbers 42 and 43 on the season coming up already.
And he has a ton of really impressive body art. We talked about that in our little jaunt 94 feet. And although before we started, I asked him if he had any nicknames, and he told me all about his nicknames. Then I asked him his nickname when we were doing it, and he had a totally different nickname than he told me. I'm not sure whether I got sandbagged or whether I stumped him or what.
That's funny. They may be turning the tables on you and giving you different answers than you expected to get. They rush at Shamet. He gets rid of it. Frankamp. Ball still loose. And it belongs to Cal. White King Jones loving the hustle.
Wichita State down 10, but the Shockers have really played poorly on the offensive end. They haven't had anything fall, while Cal's shooting well over 50%, over 60, I believe.
Yep. Cal's 8 for 14, 57%. Wichita State's 4 for 18, 22%. And Tisevich off the bounce, in and out.
Good rebound.
And the putback for Jawan Harris Dyson, 6'5" freshman from Northridge, California.
Averaged 20 and 10 at Heritage Christian High School. And he's a really good athlete. Boy, this is not good for Wichita State.
McNeil feeds Coleman. Greg Marshall's going to let him play, not going to call a timeout, but boy, he cannot be happy with any aspect of his team's performance right now.
They're allowing the ball to be, and give credit to Cal. Their defense has been active and it's been very good, but these deflections in part are because there have been no pass fakes, telegraph passes. Good pass.
Morris wanted it. He and Shamet made eye contact and they connect.
Well, anytime you can dribble into traffic like that and throw it up, it is so difficult for a defense to stop that. Kentucky's been the master of that for the last 4 or 5 years.
Sewing on the drive, rejected by Morris. 5 on 4, Sewing still down. Now trying to get back into the play. A chance for 4 for Landry Shamet.
How good is this kid? He never seems like he gets sped up. Everything's at the pace that he wants. Makes good decisions. Just pulls up so effortlessly, and with his size and length, he can shoot over even bigger defenders, but never took his eyes off that rim.
Huge play for the Shockers, still down by 9. Shamet now with 8 points already, has not missed a shot from the field. 3 for 3 from the floor, 2 for 2 from 3.
Landry Shamet just knows how to play. Great feel and understanding for the game.
You said it before, maybe the top pro prospect here in this tournament. There are a number of NBA executive scouts, GMs, and so forth that we have seen already here on the island of Maui, and a lot of them, well, everybody who's here, Shamet is on their list, obviously.
Well, some years you have more NBA prospects than others, but it never fails that NBA GMs are here. And I'm not sure the reason.
You don't think the climate has anything to do with it?
I haven't really thought about it, but it's remarkable. Yeah. They don't send their junior scouts here. Those guys go to like Iowa City or something.
Shamet again. Bringing him back into it.
Oh, he's legit.
9-0 run, Shockers.
I'm sure, Dan, when you see baseball players and guys are hitting in the cage, or it sounds different, it looks different with their swing, and it just stands out. That's what the way you feel with Landry Shamet.
He's got a real poise and smoothness to his game as well. Cal still up by 5. Coleman tried to draw the foul, didn't do it, gets it back.
Well, he's got a smaller defender on him. And Samaje Haynes-Jones
turns the corner, lays it in. What a drive by Don Coleman. Wow.
Zach Brown after the initial shot. Zach Brown was off him. Samaje Haynes-Jones on him. And Don Coleman took advantage of it.
Coleman's got 17. Another turnover. Remember, Cal's doing this without Lee and Okoro both on the bench with 2 fouls. As the Shockers get it back, and then they turn it right back over. Man, oh man.
Going too fast.
Well, Cal's got the lead, but we're seeing a couple of great individual performances. Shamet's had a great first half, both feeding and scoring. This was part of a 4-point play. And Don Coleman with 17 points already.
Only averaged 4.6 last year. That's an improvement.
It's a Phil Knight birthday bash with 16 teams, 2 tournaments, 1 time only. The PK80 starts Thursday.
Featuring many of the top teams in the country, 2 separate 8-team brackets. This is one side with Duke, Florida, and Gonzaga, all ranked teams, and a really interesting matchup between Butler and Texas. That starts on Thursday, and then starting at the same time, right next door in another arena, you'll see North Carolina. You got Oregon up there, right in playing in Portland. Michigan State is there as well, and teams breaking out some new and extremely colorful uniforms for the PK80.
And the players will be getting a lot of swag on this trip. That's going to be a tough tournament.
Now, the 2 brackets do not meet. It's separate champions. It's almost like 2 separate 18 tournaments just happening side by side in Portland. And we'll have every game of it for you on the ESPN family of networks beginning on Thursday.
Yeah, it's 2 separate Maui Invitationals. Right. Each team gets 3 games. It's going to be high level.
Austin McCullough in the game for Cal. And Ticevic with a turnaround. And the lead grows to 9 for the Bears.
Yeah, Ticevic is not afraid at all. He picked up 2 fouls, but Marcus Lee and Kingsley Okoro have been on the bench for quite some time with their 2 fouls, but Wyking Jones can afford to keep him out because they have the lead.
Yeah, I don't think Wyking Jones envisioned this particular group of 5 on the floor at the same time. Nurture uses the left hand, and it makes it a 7-point game.
And Nurture took his time when he caught the ball, just went into the middle, and then turned against the defense and kissed it off the glass. And really, the biggest problem for Wichita State is they've been going too fast.
Coleman doesn't appear to have a problem going too fast. He's got 19.
And he's like Isaiah Thomas.
Which Isaiah Thomas? Current Isaiah Thomas?
Yeah, the current Isaiah, the one who's out right now for the Cleveland Cavaliers, formerly the Boston Celtics. It's small and can really motor.
Haynes-Jones knew he missed it, followed it, and getting there first was Darrell Willis, who came up with the rebound and draws the foul. Meanwhile, Coleman just getting to the bucket again.
Stays low to the ground, you lift up, and he's going against an excellent defender in Zach Brown, one of the best defenders in the country and the best defender on this Wichita State team. But this little guy, Don Coleman, he can play lower and stays lower. The player whose shoulders are lower is usually going to win the fight. And Coleman thus far has played lower than his defender.
A foul on Anticevic, his 3rd. To Wyking Jones. Here comes a sub, and Anticevic will come out. So he's got 3. Lee and Okoro both have 2, and now coming into the game is Roman Davis, a redshirt sophomore out of Carson, California. As Coach Jones goes deeper into his bench, and Jay, they continue to get smaller and smaller out there.
Well, that means that Wichita State needs to take advantage of that, not only going inside, but on the glass. But Wichita State is not finishing plays. They're getting opportunities. And this is a program that is finished. There's 2 hands on the ball handle. That's what Greg Marshall was talking about before the game. Show your hands. If you put your hands out, that's an automatic foul.
And that's the 17th foul on Wichita State, so that puts Cal into the bonus.
Even though this is incidental contact, it's a rule. If you put 2 hands on the ball handler, automatic foul. Referee right on top of it, and that's why Greg Marshall and all coaches are saying show your hands. If your hands are up and you have a little body contact while you're moving your feet, that's not going to be a foul. Hands on the ball handler, automatic.
Well, 1-1 for Darius McNeil. Didn't start the first 2 games, was dealing with a case of strep throat, but started the last game and in the starting lineup again, a guy who originally committed to Iowa State before opening it up again and then decided to come to Cal.
Apparently got the Weather Channel. And
you know, that's your second negative Iowa State
I'm
comment in like 30 seconds.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm from California.
So that lets you off the hook. That means you can take a run at anybody else.
Right, like the people of Iowa don't know they live in a cold climate. It's a beautiful place, but it's cold. Yeah.
Nerger tries to save, turns it over.
That was just thrown up for grabs.
And Coleman again going a mile a minute, draws another foul.
See, Nerger, when he got trapped there, you're better off just taking the 5-second call. If you throw that thing up for grabs, especially a diagonal pass like that, you're just that's giving the other team a bucket. And you not only that, you cost a good player, Zach Brown, a foul for no reason. If you take the 5-second call or try to throw the ball out of bounds, that's a turnover, fine. But at least then you get to play 5-on-5 on defense. Anytime you get trapped or you got heavy pressure on you, you have to get down, get in a stance, pivot, and be strong with the ball.
Marcus McDuffie out with a stress fracture in his foot. Terrific player for Wichita State. Hoping they have him back end of December, early January. What are they missing right now?
They're missing their leading scorer and rebounder, and a guy that can really play. He's got 3-point range. He can pull up and get to the rim. He's long-armed. He's not a superior athlete. He's not going to out-athlete you, but he's going to outplay you. Completely healthy. There's nobody out there this team can't beat.
Morris
everybody.
Taking advantage of the lack of size that Cal has on the interior right now.
He just put his shoulder into Roman Davis, and Roman Davis looked like he got hit by a truck. Big last 4.5 minutes of this first half. Can Cal maintain this?
Davis way off.
That was a terrible shot. Good fake.
Shamet steps into it and drills another one. What a half he's having.
Greg Marshall wanted his team to press, and they didn't know the call.
Got it down to 6 inside 4 minutes to play. Shamet now with 15. Coleman another miss and a foul. And a timeout on the floor. Shockers will be at the line when we come back. They're making a run. And Landry Shamet is the biggest reason why.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
I got news for you. Billis has gotten outswagged a couple of times already here. The VCU guys outswagged you with the hair. You've been outswagged from the moment you set foot on the ice.
Listen to you talking about getting outswagged by hair. We're in the same hair club,
That's
brother.
True. I'm just a couple years ahead of you. Let's talk a little bit about the bracket here. Marquette with a nice win over VCU. Tonight, Notre Dame, Chaminade, Michigan, LSU. Tell us about the Irish and Bonzie Colson.
Well, Mike Bray has another older team, and Bonzie Colson is a National Player of the Year candidate. Mike Bray had talked about how unique he is as a player, and he said he's 6'5", he's got a 7'2" wingspan, no calves and no neck. There's nobody like him, and he's just a great player.
Since his first team All-American to preseason, some people have him as projected National Player of the Year. And Notre Dame, another team, maybe not to quite the same extent that Wichita State is, but they are old. Yeah, Mike Bray is working in young players, but that Notre Dame program, the freshmen, they play a little bit, they wait their turn, but man, they always seem to have good juniors and seniors on that team.
Well, they build toward it.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-2-1, three-quarter court pressure by now by Wichita State. And this is really important for Cal, the last 3.5 minutes of this first half. Can they finish off the half well? You don't want to catch the ball there. Right across half court where you can get trapped. It's like being caught in a quadruple team.
Two defenders, the timeline on the sideline. They do get it over. It's a 7-0 run, though, for Wichita State. They've gotten back into it. Wyking Jones has had to navigate through the first half with some foul trouble on his big guys.
Yeah, Coro and Lee have not played much. Really, the primary offense has been Don Coleman.
Coleman's got 20 for Cal. Shamit's got 15 for the Shockers.
Cal staying in this zone. Good pass.
Morris couldn't handle it and turns it over. And again, he's got a size advantage or a strength advantage on the inside. Quick pull up by McNeil. Terrific offensive rebound, and Harris Dyson is headed to the free throw line.
Well, Shaq Morris got a great pass in, a good feed in from Landry Shamet, and he looked like he rushed that move. Instead of watching the ball into his hands, he started that move well before the ball got there. Just took his eye off it and started going. And he would have had a great opportunity to score on Anticevic in there because he had him pinned. Well, it sounds easy. Just catch it first and then go. He knew he had a great matchup there to score and just rushed it a little bit.
Ron Harris Dyson appearing in just his second game of the season. Missed the first 2 games of the year for the Bears due to illness. Played 13 minutes against Wofford. A couple of points and 3 rebounds, 1 of 2 from the line.
Wichita State usually does such a great job of screening the zone, both interior and up top, and they really need to do a good job of that now.
Got Shamet in the middle. Now he steps out to the wing.
Well, they had a wide open lob there for Kelly, and a great screen by Shaq Morris. And down under 10.
Reeves using the screen, looking for help now.
Good anticipation by Sewing.
Morris has to get the shot off. And the tip is good for Kelly.
Wichita State has not played well in this first half, but they've really battled back. A little zone look right now, 1-3-1.
And Cal led by as many as 14. It's down to 3 now. Coleman will launch a deep one. Are you serious? 23 for Don Coleman.
Well, he's the one you have to shade to. He's the only guy that's been scoring with any consistency for California.
He's taken half their shots today, 14 out of 28, but he's made 8 of them. Having a huge first half.
Tell you what, Greg Marshall might want to go box and 1 on Don Coleman and put the box on him.
And again, Cal doing this without their 2 starting big guys who have missed almost the entire first half due to foul trouble. They'll take the air out of the ball just a little bit.
Austin Reeves on Don Coleman. I'd go right to Coleman and let him go to work. I don't know what they're waiting for. Give it to him.
Instead, it'll be Anticevic. Shovel pass inside. Sewing foul.
That is by the M in Maui Gym. You're just not used to guarding that far out.
A guy who's a junior college player, Lawson State for 1 year. This is his second year with Cal, but again, came off the bench last year, less than 5 points per game. But leading returning scorer, so much turnover in the program over the last year. And it goes without saying, he's inherited a much larger role this year.
I mean, to expect his scoring to go up, but not to this level. He's averaging 25 a game coming in. And you mentioned he had 30 back-to-back 30-point games against Riverside and Cal Poly, but in the game against Riverside, he had 28 shots. And Wyking Jones talked to him afterwards about being more efficient. And he had basically the same numbers in half the amount of shot attempts in the next game.
A lot of Pac-12 coaches will watch the tape of these early Cal games, and And they'll make some adjustments because Coleman has become a big, big story. 25.7 per game, coming in 23 already today. Bears staying in the zone.
It's an active zone.
Haynes Jones from 17. Ball's loose. Good hustle by Kelly. Shot clock did not reset. 4 to shoot. Do they know it? Do they know it? Yes, they do. Haynes Jones gets it off just in time, but wait a minute.
They can go look at it. It sounded like he got it off.
It did.
But barely. And that's going to be really close. The question is, did he clip his fingernails this morning? Looked like it was still on his fingers when the clock went to 0.
Agreed. From that replay, it looked like it was still on his fingers. From hearing the horn go off as we were watching the player, it looked like he might have gotten it off in time, but maybe they weren't in sync.
No, they're waving that off.
Yeah.
What do you think about, like, back in the old days, you had to live with whatever the call was on the floor. And there's a part of me, you know, on Brian Gumbel's show, Real Sports, they had something on baseball about, you know, sort of replaying the use of it. And I'm kind of in the middle of the road, but they made a pretty compelling case that, you know what, is it worth all of the time we spend on replay? And I don't know the right answer. That's in the eye of the beholder, I'm sure.
Well, some of the things you can look at, you can only look at in the last 2 minutes of the second half or an overtime period, because everything theoretically means more at the end of the game. But should you have a certain number of challenges? Should a coach have a certain number of opportunities to say, hey, I know that falls under replay. I'd like you to go look at that, but maybe you only have 2 or 3 a game.
I think this is too long. I mean, this strikes me as being way too long for this kind of thing.
Tim Comer, one of the officials, on his way over to give Jay the news. Tim Comer is asking us if there are additional looks other than the one that they have seen. We believe they have seen the same thing that you guys, that everybody at home has seen. And meanwhile, on the other side of the court, the other 2 officials made a signal and they waved it off.
Yeah, one of the officials came over to ask if we had any more looks. There's a company called DV Sport that gives them, it takes the television feed, but they make the decisions on what angles to use. And it's really an interesting system. And sometimes the officials don't know what is being shown at home, and they want to see that.
But today we understand the officials did see every look that was available, and they did decide to wave off the basket. So it remains an 8-point lead for Cal. Into the final 30 seconds of the first half, of the Bears, despite some foul trouble, he's unbelievable. He's got 26 points. He's making shots of every imaginable kind that can be made right now.
Well, if you haven't heard of Don Coleman, you're not the only one. And now everybody's going to have heard of Don Coleman.
Haynes Jones knocks one down. Just a few seconds left. You know it's going to be Coleman. Can he get one off? And that will bring the first half to a close. Welcome to the Maui Gym Maui Invitational Don Coleman Show. Here right now, 26 points at halftime. And that is the biggest reason why Cal, searching for an upset over heavily favored Wichita State, they will take a 9-point lead into halftime. What a show he put on. 47-38 Cal. Time now for the Land Rover halftime report. Back to the guys in the studio. You're watching ESPN's coverage of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Welcome back to Maui. A beautiful weather week here. Happy early Thanksgiving to everybody, and hope you're enjoying Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Wall-to-wall basketball this week, including the Maui Gym Maui Invitational from the Lahaina Civic Center. This is the second game of the early session today. Marquette beating VCU. And we've got a potential upset in the making here. Cal leading Wichita State by 9. And if you're wondering why, 2 words: Don Coleman.
Don Coleman has been fantastic. 26 points in the first half, and he got those points every which way. 11 turnovers in the first half for Wichita State. That led to 19 points off those turnovers for Cal. But whether it was shooting from deep, which he did, shooting behind screens, which he did, or finding his way to the basket and making tough finishes, or getting into the defender's body and drawing a foul and getting to the free throw line, Don Coleman was the entire offense. And in a half where Kingsley Okoro and Marcus Lee both had 2 fouls and combined for 0 points and 1 rebound. I mean, Coleman was absolutely vital to this team, not only being in the game, but having a 9-point lead.
So he came in averaging 25.7 points per game, and he has exceeded that in the first half of this one. Marcus Lee and Kingsley Okoro, the 2 big guys for Cal, barely played in the first half because of foul trouble. Each went to the bench with 2 early. Neither returned. Okoro called for the travel. Yet Cal was able to lead throughout the entire half, led by as many as 14. Wichita State got it down to 3. But then Coleman hit a couple of big buckets late in the half, and it's a 9-point lead early in the second half.
Greg Marshall going with Samaje Haynes-Jones to run the team. And that allows Landry Shamet to operate more as a 2-guard and look to score. So now you have essentially 3 point guards on the floor with Connor Frankamp, and they can spread it a little bit to try to get out of this zone.
Suing with a rejection. And McNeil down with a loose ball. Shamet didn't miss a shot from the field in the first half. And a left-handed lay-in. It's Coleman again.
When was the last time you said Wichita State does not look sharp? And Wichita State does not look sharp in this game.
We have a big collision. It's going against Cal, and somehow Morris winds up flat on his back, and it's Coleman who called for the foul.
Well, here in transition, getting the ball to Don Coleman and just getting too easily to the lane. That's a straight line drive, and you have to angle him out and keep him out of the lane. That's the 3rd foul for Coleman. There should be some sort of investigation as to how Shaq Morris can be knocked down by Don Coleman. I mean, it's a clear foul, but
there's a 90-pound difference between the 2 guys. But that is, most importantly, that is number 3 on Coleman, and that's obviously potentially a huge call. What do you think?
Well, I mean, did he flop? You're darn right. There's no way that Don Coleman is going to go into Shaq Morris and knock him to the ground like that. But he got the call, so it was a smart play.
And Wyking Jones not happy at all. Not sure what the delay is here. As 2 of the officials are over by the scorer's table, and we're told it is a shot clock issue. Checking to see where the shot clock should be. There's the foul call there, and it does look like it ran down a little bit. Maybe it should be at 22. It's at 20 right now. And they'll reset it to 23. So the young, kind of rebuilding Bears trying to pull off a sizable upset here today against heavily favored Wichita State. Bears up by 11. Willis no. And Lee comes down with a rebound.
It was screening of the zone, and then the reversal got a wide open shot, but it was Darrell Willis taking it.
McNeil the kick. Lee, little high-low action to Okoro, and a foul's going to go on Morris. Number 2 on him.
Really good offense by Cal. Get the ball up top to Marcus Lee, who looked immediately down low to Okoro, who's going one-on-one in the post with Shaq Morris. Morris just caught him as he was turning rather than up top when he was going up with it.
And Okoro, the senior from Derby, England, has already had some big games this year. He had 18 rebounds in the opener against UC Riverside, had a career-high 15 points in the next game against Cal Poly. And a guy who lost some weight in the offseason. He knew what style of basketball they would play under Wyking Jones. Lost about 15, 20 pounds, came in leaner and fitter.
His first 3 years, he was basically just a shot blocker. Scored on maybe a putback offensive rebound or drop off from time to time, but other than that was not relied upon to score. Now he's being relied upon.
Willis, nice look. Morris with some soft touch.
Not only a soft touch, but a lot of lift. When he gets high in there, he's a really good player.
Neal using the ball screen, pulls up from 18 and knocks it down.
Wichita State has not been able to speed up, pressure, or disrupt Cal in any real way.
Shamet breaks the pressure. Willis wide open and misses the mid-range jumper. McNeil with his offhand gets it to go. McNeil is a lefty. Boy, the freshman looks like a player, doesn't he?
He is a player.
Cal fans revving up the noise. The lead is back up to 15. And Suing is called for the foul. This is the largest lead of the game for the Bears right now.
Well, this has been nothing but a tail kicking from the opening tip. And Cal, when we asked at the end of the first half with about 4 minutes to go, how's Cal going to respond? Can they keep this lead, stretch it out, or will Wichita State get back into this? And Wichita State got back into it, and then Cal answered it and got it back to a 9-point lead at halftime. That was a huge part of this game.
Rising up for a three, Zach Brown not there. Long rebound, run down, and saved by Coleman.
See, Cal is just quicker to the ball. They're more alert. They have been way more disruptive on the defensive end. They've not been passive in that 2-3 zone. They have been disruptive. And basketball is really all about rhythm. Establishing yours and disrupting theirs. And Cal has disrupted all of Wichita State's rhythm.
Well, McNeil feeling it, doesn't get it to go. Offensive rebound, Okoro. And shocker ball. Frankamp open. And Okoro with a good box out and comes down with a rebound.
Outside of Landry Shamet, where has there been any consistent offense from Wichita State? And part of that is Marcus McDuffie is not available because of an injury. He's got that stress fracture in his foot.
To your point, Jay, Shamet's 5 for 5. Oh, my. Suing and a foul. And the lead grows for Cal.
That time tried to go over the top and got caught up on the screen. You remember Wichita State got caught a couple times going under, and Suing and Coleman both made him pay for it. That time over the top, got hung up on the screen.
And we're told the officials checking to see whether this should be a 2 or a 3. Appears to clearly be a 3, and it is. So Suing with a chance for a 4-point play. Just to finish up the point you were making about other than Shamet, where does the offense come from? Shamet is 5 for 5 today. The rest of the Shockers are 8 for 31. Oh, McDuffie, they're getting what they need out of Shamet. But they're really getting hurt at this end of the floor. It's 58-40. They're having trouble stopping the Bears.
Well, Wichita State has turned the ball over like crazy, and that's been a big part of it. But there's really been nothing easy. Not a good foul by McNeil in the backcourt. Needed to get back and help get the defense established in the half court. I don't know how many prognosticators would have predicted an 18-point lead for Cal against Wichita State at any point in this game, let alone with 16 and a half to go.
And especially when Wichita State got it down to like 3 or 4 near the end of the first half, you felt maybe the tide was turning, but just as quickly it turned back the other way. Think the zone's a part of it?
It's been the zone, and it's been Wichita State's poor attack of the zone.
Better ball movement here, and Morris headed to the free throw line.
That's a really good look. Jack Morris stayed behind that zone, and the screen was out top, and Connor Frankamp with a terrific pass with the left hand. That's just beautifully done. Got it right past Kingsley Okoro, and then you can see the size of the Kentucky transfer, Marcus Lee, coming over.
Third foul on Lee.
They have to continue to, Wichita State does, keep attacking those big guys.
Morris misses them both. Wichita State now 9 for 14 from the line. Cal is 12 for 15.
Little horn set. Coleman.
Too much traffic, too many bodies.
A terrific recovery by Zach Brown. He was beaten off that little pin down screen.
And Morris bricks the three off the glass, but the rebound comes down to Reeves. Boy, do they look out of sync offensively.
Yeah, that's been the entire game for them.
Good cut by Frankamp, but rejected by Lee. Followed though for Morris.
Morris goes to the basket strong. There's nothing weak about the way he takes it up.
Here comes some pressure now by the Shockers. And we have a timeout on the floor. Wichita State getting all they can handle and then some from the Bears.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
Part of the fun out here in Maui, the Sunday morning coaches free throw contest. They each do it with a middle school student from a local Maui school. And retaining the belt, head coach Eric Bovaird of the Chaminade Silver Swords. I think he made a couple, but Zion Malaire, the young guy who was with him, deserves a lot of the credit as well. Here is the bracket of Marquette in a feisty affair between VCU 94-83. Cal trying to pull off a big upset here in this one. Later on, the Irish and Chaminade, and then Michigan and LSU. Tell us a little bit about John Beilein's team.
Well, they've got Mo Wagner, who's an outstanding player. It's a team that's very much a work in progress, but they've also got another Kentucky transfer in Charles Matthews. And I think that can be a good team down the road. They're not as good as they expected to be at this point in the season, but they're still learning. Still young in spots. But John Beilein, one of the best coaches in the country.
And Will Wade, who was coach at VCU the last couple of years, now the head coach at LSU. So he joked yesterday, one way or another, he was not determined to get to Maui for this tournament. It'll be an interesting matchup between LSU and Michigan coming up. Noah Leahy and Dan Dockich will have those two games for you. Meanwhile, Marcus Lee just picked up his 4th foul. He has basically been a non-factor today because of foul trouble.
That looked a little more like Wichita State. Playing angry with a little more fight. Kelly went after the ball time and time again. And that play angry thing came from their 2013 Final Four team. Antoine Carr actually was the one that coined that phrase in a speech he gave to that team. Antoine Carr, one of the all-time greats at Wichita State, along with Xavier McDaniel and Cliff Levingston, Aubrey Sherrod. They had great teams in the late 70s, early 80s.
Antoine Carr was excellent at playing angry.
Yes,
he was really good at that. A terrific player.
Think what he'd be like if he worked with you.
They handle the pressure again. Wichita State definitely stepping up, trying to change the feel of this game. Okoro trying to back down Nurger. Nurger not giving any ground. And it'll stay at this end of the floor. The shot did not hit the basket, did not hit the rim, so there are just 4 seconds on the shot clock.
Okoro's got to go straight up with that in his initial move. He tried to shot fake and step through, but he had enough space to take that initial shot. He's got to make that initially.
McNeil might have to force one up. And down with the rebound, the Shockers. They've got it down from 18 down to 14. Nice strip there by Coleman.
What a play. I don't know why you go for the home run there, though.
And a rejection at the other end by Kelly. Reeves thought about it, and now they'll reset. Shamet not in the game right now for Wichita State. Brown way short. Good hustle by Reeves, but he stepped out of bounds.
Well, Zach Brown, not a great shooter. He can knock shots down and has really improved as a three-point shooter. But I'm not sure after just one pass and flattening out the defense along the baseline, that was the shot you want.
Juwan Harris-Dyson back into the game now for the Bears, and they get it over. Coleman, nice cross-court look. And Ticevic. Okoro kicks it back out.
Ticevic does not hesitate, does he?
And man, they got a wide open look, as you talk about so often, off the offensive rebound, the extra pass. They won't get a cleaner look at a three.
Yeah, Coro didn't have the initial stick back off the offensive board and kicked it back out. That's just a better percentage play to get a better shot.
And Kelly called for the foul on Coleman.
And the reason, even though Coro's that close to the basket, why take a challenge two when you can kick it back out for a wide open three? So that would have been a challenge two. He's going away from the basket. And instead kick it back out. You wind up getting a step-in three. That's just great basketball. And that's the way the game has gone. But with 13:32 remaining in regulation, there's still plenty of time for Wichita State to get back in this. But one indication have the Shockers given that they will get back into it. And this has been so one-sided. I can't remember a game like this.
Travel, the pressure forces a turnover. And again, one team has a new head coach, albeit he was an assistant in the program, but a lot of turnover, a lot of young players. It's not only just that Wichita State comes in good. They come in old, too, very experienced, the same group back, and they just looked out of sync all day long. A big one there. Frankamp knocks down a three.
Great play out of the out-of-bounds under. Frankamp got the little baseline screen, came off firing, got to set his feet.
Harris Dyson keeps control, and Anticevic finds Hamilton. No Coleman in the game right now for Cal. We haven't said that very often today.
The horn set right now up top. Nurser's going to pick up the foul here.
McNeil, no. And Hamilton picked up a foul.
Nurser very, very fortunate he didn't get a foul when he's fighting for a position with a Coro down low. But Cal, there's no reason to foul there. You didn't get the rebound. There's no reason to reach in there.
And they've had 2 or 3 kind of regrettable fouls here in the second half, and all they're doing is getting Wichita State closer to the bonus earlier in the half.
That's exactly right, and taking away some defensive aggressiveness that you can have some chances that you may want to take.
Coleman back in. 28 in the game, just 2 of them here in the second half. Look inside, Nurture.
Nicely done. Hit one elbow, the other elbow dives low.
Got him trapped, and he will call a timeout.
Anytime you get pressured, you want to keep that ball off the sideline, get it into the middle. But how about Cal? This team has played extraordinarily well.
Well, one of the great tournaments of Feast Week, the Bad Boy Mowers battle for Atlantis down in the Bahamas in a great field. As you can see, 3 ranked teams, including a couple of top 5 teams in Arizona and Villanova. Tell us about Villanova, what they've got back. Actually, let's show some of the top returning players coming back around the country. And speaking of Arizona being down there, Alonzo Trier's off to a great start.
Well, Alonzo Trier averaging almost 30 points per game early in the season. Ethan Happ, you're not going to find a more skilled big guy, great passer, can really run the floor. And Devontae Graham taking over the lead role after Frank Mason III, National Player of the Year last year, left Lawrence after his senior year.
Meanwhile, here in Maui, upset alert. Cal up by a dozen on number 6 Wichita State, led by Don Coleman and his 28 points. And the Shockers just 4 for 15, 27% from the floor in the second half. Harris Dyson, nice little hesitation. And then the ball went up off the shot clock, so that'll turn it back over to the Shockers.
Nurser did a really nice job of challenging that shot with his hands straight up in the air. That's why he didn't pick up the foul there, because there was body contact.
Shamet not in the game right now for Wichita State. Frankamp hit one recently, not this time on the baseline 3, and then it looks like it's Harris Dyson called for the foul, trying to go over the top of Nurture.
Well, he had 2 Wichita State Shockers to deal with. Zach Brown and Nurture there, and he's smaller. And here's where the fouls, Dan, have put Cal in a little bit of a tough spot. And I'd rather have a few fouls and be ahead by 12 to see if I can hang on. But you know, right now, every foul is going to put Wichita State on the line. This is really early to be on the 1-and-1 in the second half.
Yeah, they're giving a team that has struggled terribly from the field a chance to go to the line and score, though Nurture misses the front end. Cal's been in the zone the entire game. Kickball. Again, the Bears picked 11th out of 12 in the Pac-12. Coming into the season, lost a lot. New head coach. And Viking Jones with Conto Martin now at Missouri. Lost some good players over the last couple of years. The leading returning scorer came back at 4.6 points per game. Don Coleman, he's at over 26 per game through the first 4 with about 12 minutes left to go in this one.
More of a 3-2 look until the ball moves, then it's a 2-3.
And a chance for 3 for Nurture.
That was a beautiful feed.
Here come the Shockers on a 7-0 run and heading to the line when we come back. Lots of time, a lot of work left to do, but they're making a bit of a run right here.
It's a Phil Knight birthday bash with 16 teams, 2 tournaments, 1 time only. The PK80 starts Thursday.
We're looking forward to being in Portland for that. North Carolina's there, Duke is there, Michigan State, Florida, Gonzaga, and so many other top teams. 2 separate 8-team brackets playing at the same time Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. So Feast Week this year, which is always great, is truly a feast this year with this tournament added to Maui, the Bahamas, and so many of the other great tournaments going on around the country.
Well, Wichita State has to get production from players other than Landry Shamet and Zach Morris.
They got another turnover here.
Poor place to inbound the ball. You get the ball into the corner, you're inviting a trap, and that was an automatic turnover. But thus far in the game, Landry Shamet and Zach Morris have combined for 10 of 15 from the field. The rest of the Shockers, 7 of 32. That's barely over 20%.
And Shamet remains on the bench right now for the Shockers. Everything around the outside right now for Wichita State against this Cal zone.
Well, they almost got the ball into Nurture. They ran a nice little set to get it inside, or a wide open 3 in the corner.
5 to shoot. Kelly spins, no good. Ball did not hit the rim, but Nurture back up and in before the shot clock expires.
Nice job by Samaje Haynes-Jones to keep that alive.
And Cal again having some trouble breaking the press. Coleman gets it over, and wow, just steamrolls Reeves, who gets called for the block.
Reeves was not, he had not established initial guarding position, even though Coleman threw a little extra into it. So that was a good call by the official. You have to establish an initial guarding position, two feet on the floor facing the ball handler, then you can move to maintain it.
And remember, had it gone against Coleman, would have been his 4th. So a big call. Nice look inside and a strong finish there for Sewing, and that'll break a 10-0 Wichita State run.
Nice drive by Juwan Harris-Dyson to dish that off. Got to get the ball into the middle. Anytime they've gotten it in the middle, they've gotten something good.
Nurture baseline, nowhere to go. Reeves steps in. Tries to chase it down, out of bounds to Cal.
There's still a lot of time left in this game. And it's just a 9-point difference. And Wichita State, give a ton of credit to Cal. The Bears have played very, very well. But Wichita State has played very, very poorly at the same time. And there's an awful lot of time left. Couple buckets go down, couple stops, and this is a totally different field.
Shamet, who had gone to the bench with 3 fouls, back in now with 10:40 to go. And Cal really having some difficulty just getting the ball in and getting it over at times against the pressure. Now they'll go for the home run. And Sewing bumped by Haynes-Jones.
Really good cut by Justice Sewing. Brought his man up, and not enough pressure on the ball to make that a more difficult pass, but he did a good job of taking in Samaje Haynes-Jones and then turning and going the other way.
McNeil. He has not been shy in this one, and Okoro climbing over the back of Haynes-Jones, trying to get the rebound, and he's called for the foul, and that means more free throws coming here for the Shockers.
Just a great block out by the little guy. A great block out. As you ever told, little guys can't block out big guys. You just saw it. Get low, get into his legs. And that drew that foul. Now they get to walk whatever the footage is between under the basket and the free throw line. I guess it's 84, right?
Well, 94 minus 15.
Is it 10 or 15? 15, whatever. Math. I let others do that.
That's a 6-footer blocking out a 7-footer. Makes them both.
He's going to be a good player.
Yeah. Coleman. Nice look. Suing. And Morris did a great job going straight up in the air. No foul call. McNeil. The foul down low. I don't think it was on Morris up top of the block. It's going to be on Nerger down low.
See, and that was a mistake on the part of Samaje Haynes-Jones. Like, you don't need to go after that and gamble out front. He just let McNeil go by him because he tried to make an near ungettable steal out front. And that meant that a teammate had to come over, help out, pick up a foul, 2 free throws, instead of stay in front and make them work for it.
McNeil, the freshman at point guard out of Houston, 12 points already. Make it 13.
You take a look out top. You're right in front, but now you can decide to gamble. Now you're behind the play and gone. Somebody's got to come over, and you cost your teammate a foul. And Wichita State had a little bit of momentum. Now Cal's been able to watch the ball go through the net twice. They get to set up their 2-2-1 3/4 court pressure.
Haynes-Jones all the way. And it's going back to Cal. Haynes-Jones just trying to do a little bit too much at both ends of the floor.
Well, yeah, they're trying to take that in there without a pass. And you like the aggressive nature of it.
A steal. And the finish for Darrell Willis Jr.
A little bit of a diamond press on the ball. Initial trap.
Sewing's open. High arcing 3 goes down. The soft rims come into play again.
But Justice Sewing is having some kind of game. He had a really good first half, quieted down, and starting to heat up again. He's seeing a big basket.
Jay, he's made all 5 of his threes. He's got 19 points in this game. As huge as Coleman was in the first half, it's been more the likes of Sewing and McNeil here in the second half. Shamet with a floater.
He still hasn't missed one, has he?
Nope. Coleman open. Got it. 31 for Don Coleman.
This kid is ridiculous.
30 or more in 3 of the first 4 games of the season.
The last guy to have 30 twice in a row at Cal, I think, was Ryan Anderson.
Back in 2008.
Well, you'd have to go way back to see somebody who's done it 3 in a row, but 3 out of 4 is pretty darn good.
Shamet off balance.
Oh!
Shaq Morris was having none of anybody else right there. That was his.
How come nobody blocked him out? Oh, how about that dive on the floor play by Zach Brown? That's big time.
You know what's fun about this? This is day 1.
Day 1.
How good is this?
And if there's any doubt over who wanted that ball more, Zach Brown was furthest away and got it. That was a big time play. I mean, Darius McNeil was a lot closer to that, and Zach Brown got it. What can Brown do for you? He can dive all over the floor.
So Wichita State gets the ball back. Still a ton of time left. 8:37, day 1 of the Maui Jim Maui Invitational. Welcome back, Dan Sherman and Jay Billis. Hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. So great to see such high quality competition. Programs playing programs they never normally play this early in the season.
And it's got to be especially gratifying for Joaquin Jones and his Cal team that they are playing this well against a quality opponent. When you're trying to put your culture in and establish your system to get rewarded and to see the players have success, it makes, then they're buying in. And Wichita State has not played well, but they're still in good shape in this game. There's a long way to go. And remember, Wichita State is playing without leading scorer and leading rebounder from last year, Marcus McDuffie, who's out with a stress fracture in his foot. And when he gets back and you've got a complete team, he looks worried, doesn't he?
Well, he probably heard at halftime that he has outswagged you already. So, I mean, he's coasting the rest of the day.
And I don't think Greg Marshall would allow him to look at his phone to see the
that's true.
Just egregious statement by Chris Spatola during halftime.
Fran Camp. And Morris getting after it on the offensive glass, but it goes over to the Bears. Yesterday at the coaches' press conference, all 8 coaches were asked for kind of broad opening statements. All 8 said, we're going to learn a lot of, some variation of, we're going to learn a lot about ourselves over the next 3 days. Steele and Shamet with a flush. It's a 6-point game. Coleman out of control. Shamet met at the rim, but fouled by Harris Dyson.
Completely under control. I mean, you were right about Don Coleman. Out of control, took it into trouble. And even though there was a bump, lost the ball. And Landry Shamet was completely under control, saw he had an angle, and went right after it. Really poor pass by Juwan Harris Dyson there, led to an easy one for Landry Shamet, who I still don't think he's missed yet. Has he missed?
He has missed 1 shot from the field and 1 shot from the line.
Take him out that night. I thought he was playing better than that.
7 for 8 from the field, 4 for 4 from 3, 1 for 2 from the line, 19 points for the redshirt sophomore. But again, we remind you, it's not necessarily yet at 100% coming back off a stress fracture.
He is also an outstanding cook, an excellent young chef. So you could see him take home the American Athletic Association Player of the Year award and beat Bobby Flay.
That's I don't think if anybody's ever accomplished that double.
Yeah, see if Lenardi can give you that.
Right. By the way, the first 3, we should have mentioned this in the first half, the first 3 Shamet hit today made it 28 straight games with a 3. That's a school record. Crancamp's not far behind him. He's at 25. More pressure. It's all the way down to 4. After
it's offensive foul.
As many
That's
as
an
18.
Offensive foul. They're not giving it to him, but he had the position established and maintained it. And then there was also a little elbow that came out.
But because it goes on Shamet, Jay, it's his 4th. How big a call is that?
It's huge, but that's an offensive foul. There's no question about it. Like, referees talk all they want about he had 2 feet on the floor and moved to maintain it. And Don Coleman's a great player and draws a ton of fouls. But you hear over and over again about how that's going to be an offensive foul every time.
That's a big call. Coleman to the line, Shamet to the bench. 8:06 to go in a 4-point game. Maybe one of those times when you write down the score and the time and you see how things might change after Shamet had to go out.
Ton of time left in this one. And Wichita State, they can handle themselves without Shamet in there. You would rather have him, but I'm not sure how long he'll be out. And Greg Marshall was trying to give him some rest earlier, but I think you can trust Shamet with 4 fouls not to pick up his 5th. I just don't think you want to take the chance right now.
Putting his shoe back on now. Shortly we'll be going to immediate timeout at the under 8. So that'll give Coach Marshall a chance to contemplate what he wants to do. Maybe if it's just a brief rest or if he's out longer than that.
How do so many guys these days lose their shoes in a basketball game?
It's amazing. You ever happen to you?
The heck no. I wasn't quick enough to step out of my shoes.
Fran Camp baseline. Reversed. Morris, no. Working hard, but it's down to Cal. Marcus Lee has returned for the Bears. Again, a non-factor today because of foul trouble. He's playing with 4.
The horn set, now high-low. Good job by Zach Morris to get around in front. Zach Morris, excuse me, Zach. Looking at Zach Brown guarding Coleman.
Coleman from the baseline. Fran Camp the rebound. A look ahead to Reeves. Back to Fran Camp. And what a block by Marcus Lee. Reeves goes sailing over the scorer's table. And here come the Bears. McNeil off balance, and a foul is called. What a wild sequence that was.
I don't think you want to throw the ball backwards to little guys. Like Greg Marshall's upset. That was a block. The one on Landry Shamet was an offensive foul. But the officials were right there. That was a block. You don't throw this one backwards. But what a great block by Marcus Lee. He's not had one of his better games because of foul trouble, but he wipes this one away. Glass cleaner. Beautiful.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Maui Jim Sunglasses. Color, clarity, detail. Maui Jim.
And welcome back inside the Lahaina Civic Center, the side of the games here for the Maui Jim Maui Invitational. Cal trying to pull off the upset, leading Wichita State 72-66. Look at the effort here given by Austin Reeves, saving the ball and then hurtling over the table.
Now see how the radio crew there tries to, they're holding him up. When people come at you, you dive under the table.
Absolutely.
Well, you didn't dive under when Kyle Singler took you out that time. You took a charge.
I took a charge.
You
that
did.
was
You
not
took a
called.
charge.
That was not called. 6-point game. Greg Marshall was really unhappy with the last non-call on the Marcus Lee block. You said, and I agree with you, looked like a clean play. Still a ton of time left. 7:11 to go. Let's see if Shamet comes back into the game right now. It doesn't look like it as they come out of the timeout. He will not be on the floor. He's got 4 fouls.
Yeah, I think Marshall was upset at the charge block call into the basket. And that was a good call. The referee had that right. That was a block. He's still moving there, Rashard Kelly is. Now, where the referees were absolutely wrong was that call on Landry Shamet on the opposite side on Don Coleman. That was an absolute charge with no question about it. That was the last one on Kelly. That was a good call.
So McNeil at the line for Cal. 14 points, 4 assists, and a couple of steals already. Cal doing a nice job for the free throw line as a team. They are now 17 for 20.
And Darius McNeil, they want him to come in and run the team, make good decisions, and he has done that in this one. First 2 games, he was 2 of 11 from the field, then had that 17-point game against Wofford where he went 7 of 11, and has come back in this one and has played like a veteran. Sticking with the 2-3 zone now.
3 players have combined for 67 of the 74 points for Cal. Coleman, Sewing, and McNeil.
And where do the points come from now? Because Connor Frankamp's like 1 of 11 in this game.
Morris into the chest of Okoro, draws the foul. That'll be number 4 on Kingsley Okoro. So Okoro, Lee, and Anticevich each with 4 fouls with still 6:50 to go.
I think Okoro's asking the official, I mean, what can I do?
Sports Center with SVP comes your way after Monday Night Football tonight. Seattle playing without Richard Sherman. SVP will break down the Legion of Boom's performance minus Sherman. An exclusive interview with Cam Newton and Katie Nolan with the Not Top Plays Countdown. Sports Center at night with SVP on ESPN and the ESPN app. Down to 4. Now it's back to 8. Boy, they keep throwing it into that corner, Jay.
It's the easiest place for the offense to catch it, but that's where the defense is inviting you to catch it so they can get a quick trap. Really, the guy that Wichita State has to really worry about is Coleman. You don't want to take any risks and leave him open. He has to be found as soon as the ball gets across half court. Zach Brown's on him, and he needs to stay. He's a terrific defender. He needs to stay on him and not help.
Cal has led by as many as 18. They're up 6 right now with 6.5 to go. The winner will play Marquette tomorrow. The loser will play VCU. McNeil, no. Marcus Lee, yes.
Well, you have to come over, try to block that shot. That opens up the offensive glass. Nobody there to block out Lee.
First points of the game for Lee, who's been hampered by foul trouble. Brown. Underneath, we got a foul going against, it looks like, Justice Sewing.
As soon as the shot goes up here, Shaq Morris comes over to block the shot, and there's no way that Samaje Haynes-Jones can get there to box out. He's the guy that has to rotate over. And he made a terrific box out earlier of Kingsley Okoro, but you can't ask him to do that time after time, especially when a big guy gets this head of steam to the basket. It's just not going to happen.
Kelly misses the first.
If Cal can stretch this lead out a little bit, it means that Wichita State's going to have to come back with Landry Shamet earlier.
And they're forced to use another timeout, so they've got one left. The pressure for Wichita State definitely having an impact in this game here in the second half.
Well, they're going to be gone with that timeout. That's going to be gone too if they keep catching it in that deep corner, especially small guys.
Well, if you're just tuning in, the story of the day is Don Coleman, who's got 33 points in this game.
I'm not sure how many people had really heard of Don Coleman before this year. Didn't get a lot of playing time last year, only averaged about 5 points a game. From Augusta, Georgia, was a junior college transfer. And in his first 2 games this year, scored 61 points. And then comes in at this one at an incredible first half with 26 points. Nobody could guard him. And has cooled off a little bit, but still to have 33 points in this one. Really an incredible performance by Don Coleman.
30 plus in 3 of the first 4 games of the season for the Bears. They've needed all of it. They're up 7, trying to pull off a pretty sizable upset here against Wichita State, the 6th ranked team in the nation. Wichita State comes in 2-0. They blew out Missouri. Kansas City beat them by 52, and then led Charleston by as many as 33 before winning by 18.
Now, you notice Wichita State didn't trap Marcus Lee. That's because they wanted him to bring it up. You know, let a non-handler handle the ball. Why would you trap him, get it out of his hands? They want him to have it. Except there.
Lee the kick. Sewing's wide open. Okoro had it, but lost it to Morris, and the foul on Okoro. And that is going to be his 5th. Kingsley Okoro has fouled out of the game.
And you could tell the official didn't want to call it. It was only after Morris went down that he did. Vern Harris was right under the basket. He initially fouled. That was a foul right there, but until he went down, the whistle didn't blow.
So now they're going to go much smaller. As Juwan Harris Dyson, a 6'5" guard, checks in place of Okoro. This means that Justice Sewing at 6'7", 209 is in effect the 4-man right now for Cal. He's given up a lot of size.
He's got some pretty good length.
Yep.
The problem is somebody has to replace him down in the bottom end of that zone. So the zone gets that much smaller.
And that'll be Harris Dyson in all likelihood.
You know, when Justice Sewing is the smallest guy in the back line of that zone, then it's a pretty darn good zone. Stepped out of bounds. Catching it in that corner again, trying to turn out. And there have been a lot of turnovers for Cal in this second half, and King Jones can feel it. They're just trying to hang on. That's got to be 9 or 10 in this second half.
Yeah.
And I mean, he stepped right out of bounds.
Well, there's too much time left to hang on. There's still 5:40, and it's down to 5.
And remember, Landry Shamet's not in the game. When he comes back in, then you're going to have that much more firepower. He's been the overwhelming majority of Wichita State's offense. Good pass.
Morris inside. Got it.
Get a little love from everybody. Boy, when he ducks in, that doesn't do it justice. It's like
he barges in.
Rhinoceros in.
And is that the 5th on Marcus Lee? It is. So the 2nd Bear to foul out of the game already. What a frustrating afternoon for him.
Wichita State has been outplayed in this game. But the one thing, they hang in there. And they keep fighting. They keep plugging. And that's what champions do. And this is a championship level program.
And Tisevich into the game. He's got 4 fouls, and it's down to 2. Much better job breaking the pressure. Coleman with a quick one. Haynes Jones ties the game.
And without the big guys in there, nobody to stop it.
Coleman knocked out of bounds, but it stays with Cal. Morris getting it done at both ends.
Well, what is the rush? Well, Don Coleman feels like he's got a score. That's a terrific block by Brown, and then Morris was there as well.
Wichita State's come all the way back from an 18-point deficit to tie it.
Good fake.
Suing bounce pass, Anticevic, and Morris called for the foul. And Greg Marshall didn't like that one either. Number 3 on Shaquille Morris.
I don't think he got him with the body. It looked like he got him. I thought it looked clean up, from this angle, but I figured, well, he must have gotten it. He didn't touch him. That was a great block. You don't have better blocks than that. They don't exist.
And Anticevic takes advantage.
He's a good-looking player.
Yep.
Anticevic does not hesitate. Can shoot it.
Freshman from Sydney, Australia. And they need big minutes out of him with Okoro and Lee already having fouled out of the game.
Well, they need him to be alert to those duck ends because Shaq Morris is getting right into his body.
And again, Anticevic has 4 fouls. Morris. Nurger tied again.
That's where the size along the back line is difficult for Cal. They're having a hard time keeping Wichita State off the offensive glass.
Boy, McNeil really doing good work, shouldering a heavy load, bringing the ball up, scoring for a freshman this early in his first season. He's done a really nice job.
Well, this sense of urgency and this intense defense was nowhere to be found in the first half from Wichita State. They're starting to speed this team up now.
Suing. Nicely done. That's a tough shot.
Oh, he's a good player. He is a good player. Justice Suing has had a really nice ball game.
Under 4 minutes to play, Greg Marshall just sent Shamet and Frankamp back to the table to check in. We will have a media timeout with 3:52 to go. Wichita State trying to rally and pick up a W. Cal trying to hold on for an upset. All right, thank you. And we got 3:52 to go in a game that Cal has led by as many as 18. And Wichita State hasn't led since the first minute of the game. They tied it just a little while ago, but now the Bears back out to a 2-point lead. With 2 Cal players having fouled out already, their 2 starting big guys, and Kingsley Okoro and Marcus Lee. Don Coleman, though, the story of the day. Quieter in the second half, but still 33 points in the game.
And Wichita State, will look toward Landry Shamet. He's got 21 points, 7 of 8 from the field. In fact, Shamet and Morris are 14 of 21 combined in this game. The rest of the team really struggling. 11 of 44 for the rest of the team. There's that 2-3 zone. Middle's going to be open. And then you can look to Shaq Morris along the baseline.
Morris baseline going strong to the hoop to tie the game.
Nurger did a really nice job of screening the middle of that zone. And that opened things up along the baseline for Morris.
McNeil's in trouble. It's a held ball, and the Arrow's going to give it to the Shockers.
It has been the press of Wichita State that has turned this game around. Early, it was the full court pressure of Cal that established the rhythm and the tempo for the Bears. Now it's the press of Wichita State that has taken this back over. And now with Wichita State with it, who would have thought they could have taken the lead down 18? They look dead in the water.
That's 10 turnovers in the second half committed by Cal. A chance for their first lead since the first minute of the game.
I think they still look inside to to Shackmore. There it is.
There it is over Anticevic, and there it is. They've got their lead. 82-80 Shockers, 3:08 to go.
That's more of their red series. Another turnover.
Brown baseline. Bounces out to Shamet. First lead since it was 4-3. And Shamet with good poise resets. A lot of time in the shot clock.
Run it again.
Morris from the elbow. How about that?
I don't think it's what they wanted, but it's what they got. It looks pretty good now with a 4-point lead.
They're keeping the pressure on. Coleman's just going to dribble his way out of trouble. Try to go all the way and throw up a wild, ill-advised shot.
Just out of control. He's trying to go 1-on-5, and it's not necessary. There's plenty of time left. They're only down 4. Well, that was just a giveaway.
2:20 to go.
How about the poise shown by Wichita State? You know, they were down 18. You know, we kept talking about there being plenty of time left. What a play.
Man, Zach Brown with a beautiful bucket. It's a 6-point lead.
1-2-1-1. And another quick trap.
Again, this is one very young team against one very experienced team. And that experience has come through here in the second half.
Zach Brown with a nice finish over Anticevic, or really kind of under Anticevic, a little kiss off the glass. He's not been able to get anything to go down from the perimeter. 0 of 5 from the field before that great drive. And he's had a difficult assignment having to guard Don Coleman for most of this game.
Hugging it out with Shaq Morris, who's worked really hard in this game too. Morris has 25 points, 7 rebounds in this game.
He's just a stud.
Yep. Soon. They need it. They don't get it.
It's not there initially. Run offense. You got away with one there. Let's just pass it back out and run something. Right now, the clock is Wichita State's friend. Run some clock. Without, at the same time, you want to be aggressive, but just show really good poise and discipline and running the clock.
It was an 18-point lead for Cal 3.5 minutes into the second half. There's been a 24-point turnaround since then.
That's a foul. They didn't call a foul there? Holy cow. That's crazy. That is ridiculous. That is a foul. Period.
Shamet a little bit slow to get up. It appears to be all right.
By not calling that, the implication is, or the clear implication is, that's incidental contact.
A basketball play. Yeah. Shamet's okay. Every Wichita State fan has to be holding his or her breath every time he hits the floor hard. This guy who 2 years ago had a serious foot injury, had to take a medical red shirt. And then this year, during the summer, suffered a stress fracture in the other foot, had surgery.
There's a 2-inch screw in that foot now.
Shot clock at 10.
Good fake.
And the floater. Willis working hard. Willis working hard again, and they'll kick it back out. Reeves doesn't need it. And pulls it back out. Good decision there by the sophomore.
Great job by Darrell Willis. But those were offensive rebounds that Wichita State was not getting when Kingsley Okoro was in the game and when Marcus Lee was in the game. And with them being out, that was a tide-turning event. Wichita State just keeps coming at you. And when they get Marcus McDuffie back, and they will, this team can beat absolutely anybody.
As you said, leading scorer and rebounder from a year ago, out probably or possibly until conference play begins right around the new year, perhaps.
I don't know if the dance contest last night was any indication he was closer to coming back than people may think.
And one player from each team really getting after it at the banquet last night. Apparently McDuffie was really showing his stuff.
TJ Gibbs from Notre Dame came prepared.
Yes. 15 offensive rebounds, to your point, Jay, in the second half alone for Wichita State.
And a good number of them came after the big guys, Kingsley Okoro and Marcus Lee, were either fouled out or in serious foul trouble. And all of a sudden, Cal became smaller, not as long, and far less athletic. From 18 down, now to 8 ahead with just over a minute to go. What a turnaround.
Coleman, give him 35. Foul will send Haynes Jones back to the line for the Shockers. If Wichita State hangs on to win this game, they will play Marquette tomorrow in a semifinal. On the consolation side, it'll be Cal and VCU in what should be a very interesting game. And this one's not over yet. 55 seconds to go. Morris getting set to check back in.
Really the key now for Wichita State. Make this free throw. And I think you keep putting the pressure on. I don't think you take off the press right now. Keep the press on. And don't allow any threes from Don Coleman. If he makes a shot over you inside the three-point line, makes tough two, terrific.
Missed them both.
But you cannot allow a three.
McNeil.
That's a foul. Yeah, Justice Suing was right on top of the back of Rashard Kelly.
No call and a Wichita State ball. So Cal trying to score quickly, but a lot of guys going on their own, putting up some wild shots. And now Shamet and Frankamp back in as the Shockers get the ball back.
Well, Cal needs a sense of urgency to score in a hurry now, but they didn't need it earlier. And they got sped up by the Wichita State press. And we talk a lot about the Cal press, and it was very effective in the first half. The difference in the game, I think, is the Wichita State press and the way Wichita State came out much more aggressively in the second half on the defensive end.
Time now for the Continental Tire play of the game.
Well, Shaq Morris, I think, buoyed by the fact that he was featured in 94 feet, came out today and was Shaq worthy. What a player. I mean, he is very, very skilled and very tough. And he can make a variety of different shots around the basket. And who have you seen that goes up straight to block a shot and can get body contact and not get a foul called? I mean, he is expert at that.
That was great.
Expert.
Did a great job, too, firing up his teammates, firing up the Shockers fans behind the Wichita State bench.
I think he will be singing tonight.
He may want 94 more feet.
It looked like they were going to be singing a dirge for the first 30 minutes of this game. And now they're going to be singing in celebration.
Again, Greg Marshall shuttling players in and out depending on whether or not they have the ball or not. It'll be Reeves to inbound. Some long faces on that Bears bench. They played well. They played hard. Shamet will lay it in with ease.
Well, Shamet and Morris are going to get a ton of credit for this win, and they should. They were great. But so was Rono Nurger. He did a really nice job in this one.
11 points, 6 rebounds. The score will not reflect what this game really was. Cal led for the vast majority of it, but it'll be Wichita State coming back from as much as 18 points down in the second half, and they'll move on to the semifinal against Marquette tomorrow here in Maui. So it'll be the Golden Eagles taking on Wichita State. Still to come tonight on ESPNU. Notre Dame and the host school is Chaminade, and Michigan and LSU. It is feast week, and there's lots going on to be excited about. The folks from Wichita excited about a comeback win for their team. More basketball coming your way. Let's go to Brooklyn now. Texas A&M, Oklahoma State in the Progressive Legends Classic.